So if you're not interested in money, and that kind of seems silly to say, but maybe true, or finances or stock market stuff, just stop listening because that's exactly what this is about. All right. So here's the thing. There is a news company like Fox and CNN, whatever, called Newsmax. And a couple months or so ago, they went public. So that pretty much means that they had private stock. They were going to go on in the public sector so that people could financially invest in them. Hypothetically, if you would have taken $10,000 and invested it in this new company, which I was going to do, so I didn't really lose it, but anyway, which I was going to do, in 2 days, it went from $10 a share to $250. So hypothetically, if I would have taken $10,000 as I had intended to, okay, by day 2, my investment would have gone to $250,000. I didn't do that. I was busy. I had other things going on, and I was underestimating my profit margin. And that was one of the best losses that I ever had. And here's the reason why. I didn't make $1 of it. Why? I got in too late. Now, before you freak out too much, how much does it suck? A lot. But I gained 1,000% back. Hear what I'm saying. As far as learning and opportunity goes. Not as far as financially goes, but as far as learning how to be smarter with my money. Now, after that $250 per share from $10 a share price increase, the very next day it like tanked. It went down to like 20. And right now it's like at 23. But anyway, point is that I actually studied the stock market and how to do this for years. And then I did something called paper trading. My platform is TD, Ameritrade, Charles Schwab. It's called Thinkorswim. It's a platform used, which I really like. It's really user and learner friendly to be able to look at stocks and invest money and stuff. But the craziest part about all of this is actually twofold. Number one, it's insane that in public school, you were never taught about the stock market, how to balance a checkbook, how to even write a check. It's insane. And this whole world exists of ones and zeros that your whole life and feeding yourself and everything depends on. And school never prepares you for it. You know, you don't need a bachelor's degree. You don't need a master's degree. You don't need to do any of this. You just need to learn how to read something called candlesticks. Candlesticks is a representation of an interval of time. It could be 5 minutes, could be 5 years, and you can choose what interval when you're looking at a chart, how price is moving up or down in the course of a day. That's pretty much what it is. But if you just learn how to read those charts in a stock market, it becomes a language. And the more that you read books, it's no different than reading a financial chart. And then you can just really start to make money. Now, when I lost that opportunity of having $250,000 gain in one trade, actually, technically, it would have been one trade over the course of like a second day. Who knows? Maybe I would have gotten a little too excited and held on to it only for one day. Or maybe I held on it after that second day, and the next day it dropped, and I wouldn't have got all that $250. But the point is, I had the potential of making $250,000 with a $10,000 investment, and because the price went up from $10 a share to $250. Multiply 250 by 10,000. That's $250,000. So it's huge. It would have been great, but again, that didn't happen. But what I did learn is now I'm just taking it more seriously again. Now, when our last president was president, the financial sector was in a disarray. It was a lot of downtrends. It was not good for trading. And whether you like Donald or not, he is really doing a lot to give you, the consumer or the saver, depending on what you do with your money, to invest. or to save, or just to make more money. Like this whole thing on no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, all sorts of stuff that helps you out, right? In the exact way, if you, I don't like calling it playing the stock market, that sounds weird, but if you read these charts on a stock market, when a company opens up, and again, this little episode isn't going to be about how to do it and stuff like that, but it's really just kind of like a note to self for me and for you, the listener, to say, get into the stock market and learn how to read these charts. There's different strategies as far as how to make a profit, and none of it's illegal, and you don't need to get a bachelor's degree for it. If I could press rewind and start learning about the stock market and stuff earlier, I would. Because the thing is, like a lot of things in life, it's not brought to you. You have to come to it. You have to go to it, right? And it's very strange. It's very, very strange. You don't ever learn about this stuff, but it exists all around. You've seen it in films. You hear people talking about it. You see there's a whole street, Wall Street, you know what I mean? In New York. You always hear about stockbrokers and stuff. What does that even mean? Most people have no clue, but they've always hear it. Well, it just basically means that you as a private investor investing in yourself, no different than you would in your time, and your physical health, and your energy and stuff like that, have the opportunity every single day to invest money in someone else's company, to take a profit that day or that week, whenever you decide to take your money out of that stock, and then it goes back into your general fund, your general, call it a checking account for lack of better words, okay? And you can make a lifestyle out of it. You can buy your groceries with it. You can do all sorts of stuff, all right? But you got to have enough money to be able to live off of. I guess it's all hypothetical. I mean, it's true, but it's hypothetical. Like, think of it like this. Think of how much money you would want to live off of, meaning like in a year. If you wanted to have a $100,000 salary, you could be working at a fast food place and investing in the stock market. You could start with $1,000, okay? And you could just learn how to do it. And there's something called paper trading, which you can actually not lose money in. It's basically like a way of being able to give yourself however much money you want to learn the process. And with TD Ameritrade, with the platform, with Thinkorswim, okay, you can mess up 1,000 times and you can learn. So you don't actually use real money. And then when you're ready, you can make $1,000 even working at a fast food place, turn into $20,000 in the course of a year. And then the next year, that $20,000 could turn into $100,000. Just by doing the exact thing over and over again. The difference is 10% of a small number and 10% of a big number is still 10%. So if you're always just adding a little bit to your wealth, but you're drawing from a bigger total every time you invest, okay, your percentage might not change of your profit, but the dollar amount will. And at some point, when you start to have so much money in your account, you can actually start to say, you know what, I want to make this into a living. But remember, whatever you take out of your account, if you were to live off of that, you have to replace it with new money to continue to live. So you can still make it into a job. You can just make it into a job that you're in control. You can be remote. And if you had $50,000 in your checking account, if you make a $500 profit that day, technically that means your account went from $50,000 to $50,500. And as long as you keep a certain balance in your account and you go above that balance, you can always draw from that and live off of. Could you live off of $500 a day? A lot of people could. So I hope you all have a beautiful day. This was a big moment in my existence, right? To get back into something that I dedicated so much time and effort to. And now I'm back to doing it again. And now I'm making profits. And I really, really like it. It just gives me time to make money, to invest, and to really put my my knowledge and my future in my own hands, and not in a 401k or a Roth or IRA or stuff like that, whatever it means, right? So anyway, this is a little bit of a rant, a pretty good story, which inspired me to get back into it full swing ever since the last presidential administration. And I will always not just necessarily remember losing the potential of gaining $250,000, but also the bigger point, which is never letting it happen again and always making much more than that amount from now on, just by being consistent. Small profits every single day equal up to a bigger sum total. I'm Benja. Well done. Check me out. Peace.